Alright, quadratic equation. Let me quickly talk about quadratic equation today. Quadratic equation is simply an equation where the highest power of the unknown is squared. What do I mean? If you have an equation where x is squared, maybe something like this. This is a quadratic equation or something like this. So you can see in these two equations, our x is raised to the power of 2. That is the highest power of x. If you have something like this, this is not a quadratic equation because the highest power of x is 1 and not equals to 2. So this is linear. This is quadratic. So a quadratic equation in mathematics generally looks like this. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a, b, c are constants. So there are three methods you can use to find the roots of a quadratic equation. I'll start with factorization method. So when you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, how do you use factorization method? The first thing you have to do what? You need to get your AC, okay? I'll put it this way, AC. What do I mean by AC? The coefficient of x squared and this c over here, this constant over here, you need to times it. Whatever your AC is, you get 2 factors of AC such that when you add those 2 factors of AC, let me call it m and n. Now you have to have 2 factors of AC such that when you do m plus n, it will give you b. Okay, so this is factorization method. You need to get 2 factors of that AC. If your AC is, for instance, 12, factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So you get out of those 2 factors, or out of those factors, you need to get 2 out of them, that when you add them together, you put them together, you would have the coefficient of this x, which is b. Don't worry, I'll do an example so that you can remember. So when you get those 2 factors, you just replace b with those 2 factors. So what you have is ax squared plus mx plus nx plus c equals to 0. So when you do this, the next thing you need to do is just to factorize these 2, and you will definitely get your answer. Now, for completing the square method, I'm going to use completing the square method to derive our formula method so that we can just go into examples straight ahead. So if you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, the first thing you need to know of completing the square method is that the coefficient of x squared must always be 1. So how can you make it 1? You can make it 1 by dividing all through by a, so that you have something like this: x squared plus bx over a plus c over a equals to 0. The next step in completing the square method is the coefficient of x is b over a. The coefficient of x is b over a. So you are going to do what? Divide this b over a by 2, such that it will now be b over 2a. b over 2a, and you square it. Now this factor or this expression, you are going to introduce it at the left hand side and the right hand side of this equation, so that you have something like this: x squared plus bx over a plus, in brackets, this factor that we are introducing, which is b over 2a all squared. plus c over a, and you are also going to introduce it to the other side of the equation to balance that equation. So it will be something like this. At this point, you can now factorize. You bring your x down. You bring what is in this bracket now is b over 2a. So you bring it down plus b over 2a all squared. So you have been able to factorize these three factors or these three expressions into this bracket. So you continue plus c over a equals to b over 2a all squared. So you collect like terms at this point. So you have x plus b over 2a all squared equals to b over 2a all squared minus c over a. If you expand this, you have b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. So at this point, what do? You square root both sides to get rid of this square. So if you square root this side, let me write it. If you square root this side, you have x plus b over 2a all squared equals to square root of b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. Okay, so the introduction of your square root will also lead to the introduction of plus or minus, because in actual sense the square root of anything is plus and minus of that thing. All right, so here we now have x plus b over 2a, because the square will disappear because of this square root. It will cancel out. So we have plus or minus square root of, what is the LCM of 4a squared and a? The LCM is 4a squared. We write it 4a squared. 4a squared in 4a squared will give me 1. 1 times b squared is b squared. A in 4a squared will give me 4a, and when I multiply 4a times c, I have 4ac. Okay, so from here, this will lead us to this. So you can see that now we are looking for x. So x, this can come over here. We have minus b over 2a. Mind you, the numerator's square root is not clear, but the denominator square root is very clear. Plus or minus, you leave the numerator like that. Denominator square root is 2a, so we are no longer looking for denominator square root. They have similar denominator now, so you can just bring it out as 1. So minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. So this is where we stop. We can say that our root is what? Minus b plus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Or you can say it is minus b minus root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this formula is known as what? The formula method. So this is the formula method of solving quadratic equation. And all this process that I used to get it is called completing the square method. Mind you, you see this entity here, this thing inside the square root, that, in fact, let me bring it out. You see this thing inside the square root, which is this expression inside the square root, which is b squared minus 4ac, is known as the discriminant. We will use this information in another video, and it is used in what? Determining the nature of a quadratic equations root. So even without solving it, we can determine what is the nature of a quadratic equation by using this discriminant, this b squared minus 4ac. So let's solve some examples. I'm going to use, you know what, let me just solve one example, and I'm going to use the tree method to solve the same example. Alright, so I'm going to pick any quadratic equation and solve using the tree method. So I'm going to start with factorization method and completing the square method and see whether we'll get the same answer with different process. 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals to 0. Alright, so I have this equation. Let me use, then on this side of the board, I will now use I will use factorization method and completing the square method. Let's see whether we'll get the same answer. So factorization method, here, if you compare it with ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, I can easily see that my a is what? 2. My b is what? Minus 5. And my c is what? Minus 3. So definitely my AC is 2 times minus 3, which is minus 6. So what this means is that I need two factors of minus 6, that when I bring them together, I will have minus 5. So two factors of minus 6, that when I bring them together, I will have minus 5. And those two factors are minus 6 plus 1. Why? Because if I do minus 6 times plus 1, I will have minus 6. And if I do minus 6 plus 1, I will have minus 5. So these two factors are valid. So I can replace minus 5 with minus 6 and plus 1. Like this. I can easily do 2x squared minus 6x plus 1x minus 3 equals to 0. So this is my new equation. So I got this equation from here using all of this information. Okay, so at this point I can easily factorize it like this. Put the first two in bracket, the second two in bracket. What is common here? 2x is common. What remains here is x minus 3. What is common here is just plus 1. X minus 3 equals to 0. So these two brackets are now similar. So if they are similar, I take one out and put the other one. 2x plus 1 equals to 0. So I can now see at this point that x minus 3 is equals to 0, or 2x plus 1 is equals to 0. So I have two values of x. So here I can say x is what? 3, and 2x is equal to minus 1. So x is equals to minus 1 over 2 when you divide both sides by 2. So these are my two values of x. So x, the first one is 3, and the second x is minus 1 over 2. So let's use another method and see if we'll get the same answer. So completing the square method, I'm going to start with the same equation. This is the same equation that we had. So in completing the square method, the coefficient of x squared has to be 1. So we divide all through by 2. We divide all through by 2. X squared minus 5x over 2 minus 3 over 2 equals to 0. If I collect like terms, I can say x squared minus 5x over 2 equals to 3 over 2. Let me divide this my board into 2. So now, my coefficient of x is minus 5 over 2. So I said I'm going to divide this coefficient by 2. If I divide it by 2, it's the same as saying times 1 over 2. So division by 2 is the same thing as saying 1 over 2. So it will give me what? Minus 5 over 4. So after dividing by 2, I square. So the entity, if I can call it entity, or whatever I'm going to be adding at the left and right hand side, has to be what? Minus 5 over 4 squared. Because you know, in completing the square method, you do two things. You do what? You divide by 2 and you square it. Okay, so that means my equation will now look something like this now. Plus minus 5 over 4 squared equals to 3 over 2 plus minus 5 over 4 squared. So I added this here and here. So let me continue. This can be factorized by bringing x down. What is inside this bracket is minus 5 over 4 all squared. Please be very careful when you are doing completing the square method. When you reach this point, always don't take this plus, so take the sign and the number that is inside the bracket. So me, I'm taking minus 5 over 4. So this is equal to 3 over 2 plus minus 5 squared is 25. 4 squared is 16. So this is what I have. So I still have x minus 5 over 4 all squared is equal to what? 16. 2 in 16 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 16 in 16 is 1. 1 times 25 is 25. So this will give me 49 over 16. So to get rid of this square, I do what? Square root. So the square root will come over to the other side and become plus or minus. So this is completing the square method, guys. So don't get distracted. So this plus or minus, luckily 49 and 16 are perfect square, both of them, both up and down. So we can say that x minus 5 over 4 is what? Plus or minus 7 over 4. So if you collect like terms, you have that x is equal to 5 over 4 plus or minus 7 over 4. So x is therefore, they have the same denominator, so 4, 5 plus or minus 7. So what does this mean? This means that your first x is 5 plus 7 over 4 and your second x is what? 5 minus 7 over 4. That is the meaning of plus or minus. Okay, so 5 plus 7 is 12 over 4. That will give us 3. And 5 minus 7 is minus 2 over 4. That will give us minus 1 over 2 in the lowest term. So you can see that even using this same method, you also have your x to be this and your second x to be this. So it doesn't matter the method you use, you would always have these two answers. Alright, so now let me now use formula method and see whether I will still get those two answers. So here, let me use formula method. So we still have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals to 0. This is the quadratic equation I'm still working with. And here we still have that a is 2, b is minus 5, and c is minus 3 as usual. Okay? Now the formula method says that x is what? Minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That means the first x will be minus b. The first x will be minus b plus or minus square root of, plus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And the second x will be minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So this is formula method. So x1 and x2. To get our x1 and x2, let's see whether it will work. So x1 is simply minus 5 because b is minus 5 plus square root of minus 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times minus 3. Okay, all over 2 times 2. So let's see what it will give us. Minus times minus will give us plus square root of minus 5 squared will give us 25. Minus 4 times 2 times minus 3 will give us plus 24 all over 4. So the x1 is what? 5 plus root 49 over 4, which is what? 5 plus 7 over 4, which is 12 over 4. So x1 is 3. So let's check for x2. x2 is minus minus 5, but this time we have minus square root of minus 5 squared minus 4 2 bracket minus 3 all over 2 times 2. So similarly we have minus 49 all over 4. So x squared is 5 minus 7 because this is what root 7. This is root 49, which is 7 all over 4, which is minus 2 over 4. So x2 is still the same minus 1 over 2. So this proves that no matter the method you use, if you do your work accordingly and you follow the process carefully and thoroughly, you are meant to get the same roots of a quadratic equation, irrespective of whatever method you use in getting it. So if you understood what was taught, do this assignment.